The goal of the Voyageurs organization, I think, was to really pave a path for Indigenous athletes.
Because a lot of times, if you look within the sports industry, there's not a whole lot of First Nations people. You don't see a lot of our First Nation kids in the NHL. You don't see a lot of them going to the World Juniors. You don't see them playing in these bigger tournaments where there's a lot of exposure.
We talk about every child matters. How do we ensure that we give opportunity to every child, those that never had an opportunity to leave the country, those that have never had an opportunity to fly, those that have never had the opportunity to go out and share not only their talent, but their culture.
We want to give them that exposure, that opportunity to be recognized. Like, these First Nation kids are just as good, there's so much talent out there. I've heard of First Nation kids going across with other non-Indigenous teams, but never 100% First Nation team. And, I think we're making history, we're setting a milestone here that we want to continue on.
The goal is have them relearn their culture, their language, hopefully their dance as well.
Some of these young men, they've never been exposed to any of their culture. My wife, she's the cultural advisor, and she actually is teaching these young men a rattle song. Some of them have actually never heard of that, and they've never experienced that. Some of the times that when we communicate in the dressing room, we communicate in our language in Cree. Some of these young men, they're actually kind of understanding, like even expressing our language and stuff to them. Like we will say, "Danse," and they'll come back and say, "Danse," which means hello in Cree.
The way we dance culturally and drumming and the honor songs we perform, singing, the rattles, the grandmother song, it's all a unique thing that not everyone knows. We perform and showcase our own talents, and our people across Turtle Island are very talented when it comes to that. So I think it's a pretty great opportunity to show the world, this is who we are as First Nation people.
First of all, there's tryouts. You have to go through the tryouts. Then you need to provide documentation that you're enrolled in school. We had online cultural training because we weren't able to get to all the kids because we're all across Western Canada. So we've got them onto online with elders teaching them.
When they come out, they're there to represent. So attitude, skill, behavior, and being proud of your culture. Those are probably the 4 things that will get you through to join this opportunity. Well, the skill, of course, is a requirement, but for me, I think the biggest one is attitude. If you have good attitude, everything else will fall into place.
We're looking for role models. We're also looking for kids that volunteer, speak the language, know their culture, and talent comes after.
We're looking for elite players, not just that, but attitude too. I'm looking for the ones that ain't getting mad, banging their sticks. Attitude is quite a very important element for me as a coach. I'm looking for the ones that have good edge work, the ones that they've obviously taken power skating. You'll know the ones that actually have good edge work to ones that haven't, the ones that paid their dues. That's what we're looking for, kids that have smart hockey IQ out there. You know how to make the plays offensively, defensively. That's what I'm looking for.
A lot of our boys have really good hands and high hockey IQ and high sense. They know how to move the puck, and they know where the puck needs to go to their teammates, and they make those passes.
Our coaches were just trying to see the effort. They wanted to see you putting in the effort, going as hard as you can for the practice, getting your rest, and playing as hard as you can for game day.
And it's not about just your skills. It's about the mental aspect of the game, right? And being positive and being a good teammate and to being able to be coachable. There's always something to be learned. Even if you're a really great player, you're always learning in your game. You're always learning what it is to be a good teammate.
The dedication, the perseverance, the hard work that they got to put in every day. Like, it's like a dream, right? You don't want to ever give up on. You keep working towards that dream and you make those goals.
Everybody is asking, what was it like? How did it go? And we said it was the best experience we've ever had. And I can't say enough of how well everybody got along and how supportive the parents were and the kids were of each other. And these are kids coming from all different levels of hockey. You have to be AA hockey or higher, but there was never any sense of, I play AAA or I play AA. It was everybody was there for each other and supporting each other. And the way they played hockey together was amazing because they'd never played together before. And they got the bronze medal in Prague. It was just something to see. And coming back, we bring that home to our community.
When they were on the ice the very first time, I ended up bawling, like crying, because it was so emotional for me, because to see all this work done, to see them playing on the ice where we're in somebody else's country, that was the greatest achievement for me.
Czech Republic and Germany have a really, really good system that somebody needs to follow here in North America, because they got some very skilled hockey players.
They moved the puck around really well. They always had an open guy. Everyone was always moving. It made our team have to play better defense and not so much offense, because the DEG team just moved the puck so well.
They play a different style of offense in the offensive zone, where they do a half circle, and they have 5 guys standing around the outside, and they cycle people into the open spot. Whereas we play a little bit different of a style of offense here in Canada. So they really had our kids thinking and on their feet and trying to keep up with what they were doing. It was very different style of play, but super effective. So it really, I think, inspired our boys to play a little harder and to move a little faster.
I was just amazed by all the history and meeting all the different people, acknowledging them, acknowledging their lands, to go to different countries, different arenas. It's always exciting, especially if we have never left Canada. Never mind Alberta, but never left Canada to go to someplace as beautiful as that.
We're walking, I turn a corner and I just see this huge old building, and I was like, oh my God, because architecture and just that it was built with that much detail at like that many years ago, it was like crazy to see, and just to see it in person too, it was real.
The prisoner camp that we went to, that had me in goosebumps, and the tour guide did an amazing tour, and just to have that and experience what went on all those years ago, it was almost surreal standing in the same rooms that there were prisoners of war back in war. Like it was very heartfelt, and I'll never forget what it felt like to be there. And very good for the kids to see that too, I thought, because when other chance would we have to experience that here in Canada?
It was exciting to see the hockey players on the ice, but the proud moment for me was when they all walked in to that closing ceremony with their First Nation flag in hand. Made me so proud of who they were representing. We had some powwow dancers join into the closing ceremony. It started off with the prayer. We always start everything off with a prayer in our culture. And so having our drummer sing a song, a powwow song, and then having dignitaries as well being in that grand entry, what a feeling. What a feeling to be able to welcome our international brothers and sisters in celebration of a ceremony that's so sacred to us.
you kind of go through a person or a place in your life as an Indigenous person where like being Indian or being Native is not cool. You don't want to dance. You don't have that sense of pride.
We planted the seed that it's okay to be Indigenous. It's okay to be who you are. Be proud of who you are. Those are the things that we instill as part of the First Nations Voyageurs, which I'm very, very grateful for. It's telling the world who we are as Indigenous people. Our history books don't do justice. So how do we as Indigenous people take on the role to share who we are?
You know, I want them to be proud of themselves, you know, as First Nation people. I hope we leave an impression over there that there's a pool of First Nation kids that are just as good as any other kids in Canada. You know, that's what I want them to feel, that, you know, that they're good players.
You know, the hope is making WHL or NHL or for them to play professionally overseas. So it's just everything we can do to help better them as a player, help for them to go a long way.
One of the things that I see with these boys, and not only the boys, but with the parents themselves, is that they've made new friends, they've become closer, they learned how to come out of their shell, and they learned basically overall teamwork. That when you're bringing 4 provinces together of players for the very first time, and they don't know each other and they don't know how they play hockey, and then you're putting them all on the ice, that's where they learned how to work with one another.
I know there's so much talent out there. And so, you know, in the future, I'm hoping that we get this opportunity to more and more First Nation kids that play at the elite level, to get them more recognition. It's not for any of us, it's for them, it's for the kids.